Now we will go for next theorem. So the theorem is regarding linear dependence and independence of vectors using determinants. Okay, so this theorem we are going to see without proof. I will explain you what is the meaning of this theorem, and it is very beautiful and interesting theorem. I think I have already told you this, but still we will go for it. Okay, because it is required in the next proof. So the name itself tells us we will be able to identify whether given set of vectors from r raised to n is linearly dependent or independent by finding the determinant. Okay, so whenever you are having n column vectors of r raised to n, this is very important. So uh, if you are thinking about vectors in R3, how many vectors you should have, then you can use this concept. See, number of vectors over here are n, and these are the vectors from where r raised to n. So if you are thinking of using this concept to check independence and dependence, so if the vectors are from r raised to 3, so number of vectors should be 3. You should note this, because then and then only we can find determinant. So if you are having a set which contains vectors from r raised to 4, then the number of vectors should be 4. Then and then only you can use this concept. Okay, I hope you are getting it. Okay, so what is the result saying? If a1, a2 and an are column vectors of r raised to n, then these are linearly dependent if the determinant is 0. Okay, and the contrapositive will be if the determinant is non-zero, then this vector will be linearly independent. So very interesting. Let us see a few examples, then the idea will be clear. So uh, first, so if I am having the set, let me say, uh, not necessarily you should have column vectors, you can have row vectors also. If I have 1 2 3, which is my favorite example, 4 5 6 and 7 8 9. Okay, so if you talk about this set S, I will say, so the question is, now you can easily see that this is a subset of r raised to 3. Now see, the value of n is 3 and the number of vectors in the set are also 3. So therefore you can use the concept of determinant. So simply find determinant of what? Here this determinant of 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7 8 9. Find the determinant of this and you can check that this determinant comes out to be 0. Since this determinant is 0, therefore what we can say, therefore S is linearly dependent. Okay, जर डिटर्मिनंट नॉन झिरो आला असता तर आपण काय म्हटलं असतं की हा सेट लिनियरली इंडिपेंडंट आहे. ओके, see what is the theorem saying? If determinant is 0, then it is the set is linearly dependent. Okay, so I will give one example for homework which you can do. So second example, yes, one set 1 0 0 0 0 0 0 1 0 1 0 0 and 0 0 1 0, and this is some S1. So just check linear independence or dependence of this set. Note that it is a subset of r raised to 4 and number of vectors are also 4. So you can use the concept of determinant. So find the determinant and see whether it is 0 or non-zero. If the determinant comes out to be 0, then you can say that this set is linearly dependent, otherwise it will be linearly independent. Now immediately we'll move towards next corollary, whose proof we are going to discuss. Okay, so what is this corollary saying is, if a1 a2 up to an are column vectors of r raised to n such that the determinant is non-zero. Now since the determinant is non-zero, the previous results can be used. Okay, what is the previous result saying? If the determinant is 0, then the a1 a2 up to an, these column vectors are linearly dependent. Now in our corollary it is said that the determinant is non-zero. So what we can say? These column vectors will be linearly what? It will be linearly independent, isn't it? So uh, this thing is given such that this determinant is non-zero. So therefore by last theorem we can say this column vectors will be linearly independent, and they are saying that if B is a column vector of r raised to n, means B is an element of r raised to n, then there exist unique numbers x1 x2 xn belonging to r such that this x1 raised to a1 plus x2 a2 plus so on xn an is equal to b. So the meaning is this b vector can be written as a linear combination of these column vectors a1 a2 up to an. Okay. Now over here we are supposed to recall one theorem before going ahead. Just I will write here because that will be needed. Basically two things we are supposed to recall. One is the definition of basis and another one is the theorem, one theorem that will be required here. Okay, so let us see what we are supposed to recall. The first thing is, in a vector space V having dimension n, if you are having linearly independent set containing n vectors, means if you know the dimension of the vector space V which is n, and if you are having linearly independent set from that vector space and that set also contains n vectors, then you can directly say that that set will be a basis. No need of checking this second condition, okay, of the basis. I hope you are getting my point. And this second is the definition of basis itself. A subset S of a vector space V is said to be a basis of V if S is linearly independent and linear span of S is equal to V. Now what do you mean by linear span of S is equal to V? It means every V belonging to V can be expressed as a linear combination of elements of S. Okay, what I am saying, हा युनिकली शब्द काढून टाकला फक्त. एव्हरी व्ही बिलॉंगिंग टू व्ही कॅन बी एक्सप्रेस्ड ॲज अ लिनियर कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ एलिमेंट्स ऑफ एस. That is what the second condition imply. Or these two conditions, both the conditions can be combined in one statement only. Every V belonging to V can be expressed uniquely. Okay, so I am adding one more word over here. So since I am adding this one more word, this word is taking the care of what? Linear independence. Okay, so can be expressed uniquely as a linear combination of elements of S. So either this two condition or this only one condition. Okay, now I have told you this also. I think we have proved it in second year, because our corollaries contain the unique word. Okay, so then there exist unique numbers x1 x2 up to xn belonging to R such that this is happening. Okay, and what I am saying here, every V belonging to V can be expressed uniquely as a linear combination of elements of S. So over here our vector space is R raised to n in our corollary, and our elements of S will be these column vectors. Is that okay? Yes. So let us begin with the proof. So first of all I will write down the given things. Let a1 a2 up to an be column vectors of R raised to n such that the determinant is non-zero. Now what we have to show is, we have to show that there exist unique numbers x1 x2 xn belonging to R such that this will happen. Okay, so since this determinant is non-zero, a2 so on up to an is non-zero, so therefore by last theorem what you can say, the set a1 a2 up to a raised to n is linearly independent. Okay, remember it is subset of what? R raised to n. But we already know the basis also. Okay, I will give some name to this set as S. Is a linearly independent subset of R raised to n, but dimension of R raised to n is n. Now since dimension of R raised to n is n and we are having one linearly independent subset of R raised to n which contains n vectors, so therefore by the theorem that just we have recalled, we can say that this S is a basis of R raised to n. Therefore S is a basis of R raised to n. Okay, now we have B belonging to R raised to n, that is given, right? Now what we have to prove is this B should be written in this form where this x1 x2 up to xn are unique. Now just note one thing, since this S is a basis of R raised to n, what we can say? We can say that every vector belonging to R raised to n can be expressed uniquely as a linear combination of elements of S. So I will say, since this B belongs to R raised to n, so how can we express this B? Okay, so this will imply a B can be expressed uniquely as a linear combination of elements of S. This is since full stop, since S is a basis. And now writing it in terms of words, okay, that is nothing but what? That is, there exist x1, x2 up to so on, xn belonging to R. I should add unique word, right? That is what is said in the portion, the same order we will write. There exist unique numbers, okay, so this implies that is nothing but what? That is, there exist unique numbers. I am using shortcut, just NO, numbers x1, x2 up to so on xn belonging to R, such that this B is equal to x1 a1 plus x2 a2 plus so on xn en, okay, and that is what we wanted to prove. So we will stop here. So in the next class we are going to see a very interesting theorem that is called as Cramer's rule. So thank you.